according to these reports now coming out of Portugal, for me, have been ahead of the curve when it's come to the Gyökeres news, at least in relation to who he wants to play for, etc. They're now stating that Arsenal will not budge on that, and unless they get him for 60 million base, they will not buy him. Question: is that a mistake by Arsenal?
No ambition. It's no ambition, Terry. It's no ambition. Like, we have to put it quite frank and be honest about with ourselves. Is as rival fans, and I'm giving you like not even my Tottenham hat on. I'm talking about as a rival fan. I'm scared of Gyökeres going to Arsenal, and I'm not doing the Arsenal are scary and trying to ban. No, I'm actually scared of Gyökeres going to Arsenal because what he does to Arsenal is elevate them to a level that they haven't been in a long time. Arsenal don't go and get that deal done. It shows they've got no ambition to win the Premier League. And to me, what has Andrea Berta been brought in to do? Because at this point, you've lost Arsenal's biggest target in Gyökeres if you don't get him. And then you've lost one of Arsenal's best players in last season in Partey because you couldn't get him to sign a new deal. So he's basically come in and made their team worse. He's put Arsenal in a worse position than what they was in before. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to pay 80 million euros? Because Sesko is going to cost in and around 80 million euros. Let's not act like they're going to be able to get it done for anything less than at least 70 million euros. So if you're haggling over 4 to 5 million on a player who is, again, like we spoke about last week, he's proven, he's experienced. Sesko, you don't know what level of quality he's going to bring to you. He scored 13 goals last season. 13. Didn't Gyökeres get triple that? Like, what are we? There's literally no comparison when I'm looking at both of these players and what they bring to Arsenal. So when the choice is like, oh, we might go and get Sesko, and Arsenal fans, we know exactly what they're going to do, Toe. Like, what they're going to do is they get Sesko in, they're going to start making the stories about how Sesko was always a better signing than Gyökeres because so and so and so on and so forth. That's just what Arsenal fans do. But you can only lie to yourself if you're doing that, because if Sesko doesn't go Arsenal, but he ends up at Man United or he ends up at another Premier League club, Arsenal fans are going to be fuming and they're going to be kicking themselves. And an Arsenal board will be looking absolutely stupid. I will. I've come alive. I've come alive also. When it comes to speak about Arsenal, I'm always alive. Number one hater. You know what it is. But more than anything, like, if another Premier League club does pick him up, Arsenal are going to be fuming. Because you're looking at a player that wanted you, should have been at you, and you've let him go and score 30 Premier League goals for another team. Like, I can't understand what their board is doing at this moment in time.
Yeah.
It's funny, George, as well, though. Do you not think, say the 4 or 5 million they're haggling over, and we're just talking about the Mbeumo transfer there, like United are haggling over that money, and then with Gyökeres, so Arsenal are obviously haggling over that too. Do you not think the same logic should apply? I think it's obviously slightly different in the sense of Arsenal need a player to get them over the line for a big trophy, whereas United obviously need, like, from like their basically their goals are different in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Arsenal don't really need to worry about like the money side of things, or like how they do business with the transfers. It's more the expectation of them that they need to go out and get a world-class player to get them over the line to win a big trophy is so big now. Whereas United is more around, like the financial structure and like not getting absolutely done in the transfer market, spending ridiculous money on players. So, so do you think the same logic should apply? Is my question.
No, I was literally going to make that point as well after George said. I was going to say, it sounds hypocritical what I'm about to say, because I was advocating for United to haggle, and now I'm doing the opposite for Arsenal. But I'm not a hypocrite, because I don't think Man United and Arsenal are the same. So you can't call me that. Man United and Arsenal are in such a better position than Man United, to the point where it's like Man United can't take risks financially because of how bad we are. Arsenal need to take risks financially to get over the line, because they haven't been able to do it how they're doing it for the last 3 years. And that's why I feel like they are with Gyökeres. They actually need to do this. They need to take that risk. They need to push the bar a little bit and go and get what they need to secure the title, because that's the ultimate goal. They're not where they were like 4 or 5 years ago, where you're trying to steadily build and try and get into a position where you're comfortable and you can start challenging for the title. They've gone past that. They're clear of that.
And do you know what's more embarrassing about this as well, KJ? Didn't they not sign Kai Havertz for 80 million euros 2 seasons ago? So
He
you're
did.
telling me that you don't want to spend 8 million euros on Gyökeres, who's just scored 50 goals, but you went and spent that on Kai Havertz, who has done nothing for you. Kai Havertz, who you're looking to replace within 2 seasons. Like, this is what's not making sense. And people are in the comments going, oh, you want Arsenal to overpay. Arsenal have been overpaying for players. You just overpaid Zubamendi's release clause so you could spread it out on installments. So you've been overpaying. You overpaid for Declan Rice because you wanted the player you got. You overpaid for Kai Havertz because this was the man Arteta wanted. Go overpay for Gyökeres if you're serious about being a club that competes in the Premier League.
I've got an example. I'm pretty sure Terry could probably attest to this due to his experience. But sometimes in life, overpaying isn't bad. So let's take your house, for example. You could probably do your garden. You want to get your garden done. You could probably get it done for, let's say, £2,000 by using market value people, market value builders and workers and landscapers. But then there's another company whose quality is so much higher than everyone else's that will get your garden to the most perfect condition, that your vision will be perfectly done 100%, but you have to pay £5,000. You are overpaying what you actually need to pay to get your garden done, but you're overpaying for the quality. And sometimes overpaying isn't a bad thing.
Well, I think the overpaying conversation is interesting because it's about my issue here with Arsenal isn't they're right to not overpay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm questioning the judgment. Because for me, they're asking for 80 million euros for Gyökeres. I think he's worth that. So this is where it goes from being an objective conversation to a subjective one. Objectively, Arsenal were right to not overpay for players at almost every level. However, I think they're judging this wrong. I think he's worth more than 60 million euros. I think it's 80 million in totality, 70 million plus 10 euros. This is. I think Gyökeres is a bargain. I think Sesko is a very good player. I think Sesko will improve Arsenal. I think Sesko will score a fair amount of goals in England. I just look at the situation with Gyökeres, and I wish he wanted us. And some people say it's his age, Terry. He's 27. He is not He is not an old man. He has got 5 years left at the very top, and he scores goals, and more goals. So again, this is where the conversation. Some people go, "I can't believe you're criticizing Arsenal for not wanting to overpay." It's not about not wanting to overpay. I didn't hear that in what George said. This is about there's an opportunity. He's worth more than you're willing to pay. So if Man United were saying we ain't going to pay no more than 30 million, 40 million for Mbeumo, and they walked away, we'd go, hang on, he's worth well more than that. We walked away like our valuation's wrong, not the principle. There's such for me a difference and a contrast and a dichotomy in this conversation.
Yeah,
Arsenal have got the chance here to sign one of the most prolific, one of the most deadly strikers on planet Earth for a combined fee of 80 million euros, and only 70 million of that is a guarantee. So we're talking here in pounds with today's exchange. That's 59 million pounds. That is cheaper. That is the same price that Chelsea are getting João Pedro for. It's only 4 million pounds more than Jamie Gittins. It's 3 or 4 million pound cheaper than Cunha. It's only 4 million pound more expensive than Zubamendi, and he is one of the most prolific goal scorers on planet Earth. Now, I get accused of never criticizing Arsenal, although everybody seems to conveniently miss the conversation I have around Gyökeres and Sesko. I think Sesko is very good. I think Gyökeres is a different level of goal scorer, and Arsenal should be all. And for 59 million pound, I pray Gyökeres was one in my club first choice, because I don't listen. Let's start a GoFundMe. Whatever United got to do, we're broke. Let's get that money raised, because this man he's a difference. He could take a team from 8th place to a Champions League spot. He can take a team from a title race to title winners, and especially if Liverpool go out and buy themselves Isak later in the window, Arsenal needs someone that's capable of scoring 30 plus league goals a season. I think Sesko will come in and do well, and he could move the needle for them. I'm not going to slag him off. I'm not polarized on it. But for me, 59 million pounds, get it done, Arsenal. Get it over the line. He's a phenom. He's developed later in his career, but he's
Terry.
a phenom in my opinion.
One example I would give in this kind of instance, and no matter what they pay for any player, there's going to be people that said you're overpaid because like they know that they need to go out and pay it. You know what I mean? So you're not going to be able to get around that. But if you actually compare it to say a similar situation that people always say, well, Liverpool or Arsenal are when they were trying to get over the line for a big trophy. Liverpool went out and spent 75 million on Van Dijk, and it was absolutely ridiculed at the time for the amount of money they went and spent out. And the difference is Liverpool and Klopp believed that he would go on and be able to help them build a foundation to go on and get them over the line in those trophies. And they come in, they went out and they obviously need to get a keeper in as well, and Alisson, but they felt that those were two signings that they could go out. The Van Dijk signing now looks like a masterpiece. He goes down as one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League and one of the best centre-backs in Liverpool of all time. And nobody cares about the price tag of 75 million. So if Arsenal feel, and Arteta feels that Sesko or Gyökeres feel like they'll get them over the line, then it doesn't matter about that. Do you know what I mean? They should go out and spend it. Because that's the difference.
Jamie, when you signed Van Dijk for 75 million, he was 26 years old.
Yeah.
Gyökeres is a year older, and they're acting like he's some OAP who's 35. What are we?
This here is fair from Cal, who says it's not about overpaying. Arsenal were just simply not that interested in Gyökeres. If they wanted him, he would have been here already. And